Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, dear listener. Once again, the eye has opened, the chaos has started to burn the galaxy. All hope that we know it has gone. The sticky green ichor that drips from the center is sending even the sanest mad. I am Griffey, your bastion against such chaotic intent, but I do not stand alone. With me today are two men, manly men ready to give their all to the fight. As usual, Inquisitor Andy, step forward.
Hello, dear Griffington. I've been licking the lid of chaos this day.
Licking the lid of chaos?
Yeah.
I went to B&Q and I got myself a nice little box of chaos.
The lid.
Been licking it and put the rest in brownies.
Delicious chaos brownies, I'll have you know.
Been giving them round to the neighbours. Ooh! The crimes against humanity that's going on now.
The looks on their faces. It'll haunt me for a lifetime.
I like how you say it'll haunt you, but then laughed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the nightmares. Those ever so beautiful nightmares.
I only like my neighbours to a point, so you know. I can't feel too much mercy for them. But silly.
Mercy. Do not look for mercy in this town. Mercy is forsaken these lands. And I'm paraphrasing, I think, from Lord of the Rings.
Sounds right, yeah.
And also with me today, we have grasped a man. Grasped him tight from the future. For while it is but Monday morning here, for him it is Monday night. It is the Bard.
I have seen the terrors that await you all upon the blackness of the rest of the day, gentlemen, and believe me, it is oozing in slime, but it is delicious. How are we?
Even better now.
Yeah, man, see.
Well, I've licked the lid of chaos as well, you see. It comes in jars around here, so I was licking the jar lid. So
That seems wrong.
it's terrible, but it does happen.
You've got to pick and choose what you want and what you can take.
Inquisitors like us have to get into every nook and cranny while searching for corruption.
This is true. I like to think myself as a bit of a lazy Inquisitor.
Are you telling me you don't want to work the nooks?
No, I'm more like, I sit back in my chair and just go, blow up the planet, it's fine.
You've got to work those nooks. Go on.
Exterminatus first, actual inquisiting later.
Exactly,
Inquisiting.
Inquisiting. Verb.
Verb, inquisiting.
To explore broken planet.
Yeah. That's what I do when I'm playing like a Warhammer-related game. I'll be sitting here, someone outside will go, "The Bard, what are you doing in there?" "Inquisiting!"
It's there with your inquisiting stick poking them in the face.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'm not worried.
Inquisiting.
I am being inquisitive. Poke, 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 poke. Right, well, we three are here to talk of a film of Lovecraftian proportions. Many times through this podcast, we have discussed the idea that certain films don't actually come from a basic Lovecraft story, but instead take the themes and ideas from such stories. This film is such of one of them. It is The Mouth of Madness by John Carpenter.
It is. It is the third part of his much vaunted Apocalypse trilogy.
The one that
Be worth saying.
Yeah, the one that began with The Thing, moved into Prince of Darkness, and then finished with this one.
It
Actually,
is also the worst of the trilogy, I'm sorry to report.
would you say this is a worse film than Prince of Darkness?
No, I love Prince of Darkness. I think Prince of Darkness is great. It's got Donald Pleasance, Alice Cooper,
Yeah.
and the most uneven mustache in film history. No, I think Prince of Darkness is good. Now, in saying that this is the worst of the trilogy, I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's okay. It's pretty good. But those other films are better. Obviously, The Thing is better.
Yes.
Great classic. And I think Prince of Darkness is stronger than this film. But we'll get into that, I expect.
I mean, I'm just amazed that you think a film with giant hairy orange arms is a better film than I'm sorry about the balls. It's a lucky shot.
It sounds
I'm
like
not insane.
this sounds like a movie I need to see.
Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
I'm
before.
afraid you haven't. It is a quantum physics-based horror.
Okay.
It's it is a very, very good film. And as you say, Alice Cooper and a hedge.
Indeed.
Something we need to remember is this is the same director that went on to make John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars.
I have an interesting story about Ghost of Mars.
Okay.
I occasionally suffer from the fact that I can't get to sleep. Right?
Right.
I discovered that John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, within 25 minutes, will drop me.
I can see that. Yeah.
I better write that down.
I have
Never seen it.
More than 25 minutes of that film because I cannot physically keep my eyes open.
That's not entirely a bad thing to say, because I have seen all of Ghost of Mars, and it doesn't get any better. It gets worse, I think. Unless you're a really big fan of Ice Cube.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of Ice Cube.
You
need a bit of Ice Cube in your life.
It's got Jason Statham as well, which is bizarre.
What?
Yeah, Jason Statham's in that movie.
Who's Statham again?
He's
that actor?
He's the sexist dude. Jason Statham, the guy from Crank and the Transporter movies, he's the real sexist guy trying to get it on with the lady.
All right. Yeah, I know who we're talking about now.
Yeah, Jason Statham.
Shocked that the Ghosts of Mars has Jason Statham in it.
He's got a little bit more hair than he does now as well.
Oh, Jason Statham.
It's thin.
You
just
never got up to him. You have to earn your way to Jason Statham in this film, apparently.
It's your price at the end of the tunnel.
It's like getting to Jurgen Prochnow in The Mouth of Madness. But you've got Sam Neill to tide you over, at least.
I really want to have Sam Neill to tide me over. Oh, God.
It's happening already.
Especially in Dead Calm. Echo Kidman's bottom.
Whoa.
So yes, this is The Mouth of Madness. To move away from anything that could put me in court. In The Mouth of Madness. My apologies.
Because it's got a parallel title with At the Mountains of Madness by good old HP.
A film that is looking closer and closer to actually happening.
Hopefully.
The film came out in 1995 and has all sorts of interesting things taking place in it. I think I'm not going to actually bother doing the usual quick overview of the story this time. I think we can just dive straight into it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
immediately.
Well, it hasn't been immediately at all. We've discussed many a thing, from uneven moustaches to hairy orange arms.
Oh, but that is a cracking moustache, though. I swear it's uneven. Some people can't see it. It's very subtle. Where that is an uneven moustache.
I know exactly what you mean.
Is this something that was really picked up in the Blu-ray version?
I hope so. Haven't seen a Blu-ray version of Prince of Darkness.
I would hope there has to be one, because everything's getting Blu-ray releases these days, so maybe you'll finally be able to see the unevenness in all of its Blu-ray glory.
Yeah. Hopefully it's got an uneven highlighter function, where it comes up with micro measurements in pixels to show you just exactly how uneven it is.
Well, it's Blu-ray, so if it is on Blu-ray, then why else would you put it on Blu-ray than to do these crazy special features?
Oh, for the money.
That's right.
Unfortunately, so far, I am yet to see a extra feature anywhere near as good as the one you get on Jason X.
Oh, really?
That is Death by Lesbian picking out the scene sections, where you can watch the entire film that removes the story and just goes from death sequence to death sequence.
Bizarre. I thought it'd have a second, better film attached.
There is no better film than Jason X.
I don't mind Jason X. I thought it was all right.
It's pretty magical.
It's the type of film that you could only make in the early 2000s.
Oh, it so is.
It's like Freddy versus Jason and those type of films. They just couldn't work outside of those couple of years.
And not only for legal reasons either.
Right, anyhow. So, shall we get on with the film?
Yes, the film. Yes.
Right, I shall begin the countdown now.
3, 2, 1.
Every time I see the New Line Cinema symbol, I always start thinking to myself, dun 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 dun. Mortal Kombat.
Cabbage Patch.
Then, of course, you start listening to the music, and I'm instantly transported to StarCraft for some reason.
Oh, the oddly inappropriate theme song for this film.
It is.
What is this song all about, lads?
This song, to me, is You Require More Vespian Gas.
You require more overlords.
For lords.
You require more minerals.
My life. Yes.
Right, I need to stop
That's
doing
exactly it.
That's going to rip your throat up if you keep doing Zerg sounds.
it. I have spent half of my life doing Zerg sounds. It's how I get this wonderful, sexy, silky voice.
Masons.
Oh, there it is again.
As he snorts up a lump of blood.
That's his mating call. It's mating season for half Zerg men.
Rub my tentacles.
Charlton Heston is in this movie.
What
What a surprise.
I always forget Charlton Heston's in this.
Charlton Heston and his cold, dead hands are in this film.
His dead hands.
It's his most famous quote ever.
Oh,
I know exactly what you mean. I'm kind of thrown by the idea of every time he's in a scene, he's just got cold, dead hands. It's why no one shakes.
They are. Watch closely, man.
No one's going to shake his hands.
No one's taking his gun either. Heston. This is thrilling printer press footage they opened us up with here, by the way. Insight into the manufacture of pulp novels.
Oh, man. If only this was the Felix and Gotrek books.
Why would that make it better? Because they're advertising the next one on the back of the current one?
Yes. Yeah. It's just all these different authors that have come to them over the years. Right. The film begins. And it looks all peaceful, doesn't it, children?
it looks nice.
Yeah, whaling ambulances are always peaceful.
It's a lovely morning rise, though.
Yeah, it's...
Well, when there's only one ambulance, the violence has subsided for now.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Wait, there he is.
Oh, man. Mr. John Glover with a lovely dicky bow tie.
John Glover is a really strange actor. He's a guy that he never really hits the main.
He's a character actor, I think they call them.
Mm-hmm. But he can either be this really strange, goofy guy, or he can be goddamn sinister when he wants to be. I take you to this TV series Brimstone, where he played the devil.
Oh, really? He played the devil?
Fucking scary at times.
I could see that.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. Or heard of it.
It's one of those. I found it after it had been cancelled, and it was on late night Channel 4 when I should have really been A, asleep, and B, sober.
He's almost a comic relief role in this film, although I guess there's a lot of comic relief in this movie. He's sort of a psychiatrist on this, I don't know what you call it, the Chiltern model from Silence of the Lambs. Sort of slimy psychiatrist, facility administrator, I thought he was going to be a larger part of the movie when I first saw it, but he's not.
No, he's just part of the bookends, which I think is an interesting point to make out. The film gets bookended, and that ties in with the sort of Lovecraftian way of telling a story.
Yeah. Although, this film strikes me as being a bit more Stephen Kingian than Lovecraftian, for reasons that become obvious in the film itself.
It is exactly the halfway point between the two. I mean, they even mention King at some point, but I think the reason for that is, at the time, Lovecraft wasn't enjoying the resurgence that he got in the late 90s, early 2000s. King was still sort of the big... Everybody knew who Stephen King was.
Let's face it.
Years earlier.
Stephen King is easily the most successful of Lovecraft's literary progeny, because he took a lot of inspiration from Lovecraft himself. And I recently have been reading Stephen King's book, Danse Macabre.
Yeah. Sort
of a semi-biographical book about writing horror. And he tells tales of when he was a lad, he got his hands on some Lovecraft material, and it really had an effect on his work, because he has a similar sort of a mythos thing going on himself. But he's also wildly successful.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that Lovecraft never was during his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the comparisons between Lovecraft and King are quite interesting ones to make, just purely because of how successful King got, and Lovecraft died as a pauper, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's tragic, isn't it?
It is. And I'm always intrigued, and I'd love to know how Lovecraft would see how his work is remembered now.
He'd hate it.
Yeah.
Lovecraft famously hated violence, and he may or may not have hated sex. He didn't use it in his work, certainly. He'd be shocked at some of the films that have come out and some of the other fiction that's been written that supposedly is part of his mythos by other authors. He would be rolling in his grave.
Oh yeah, the stuff that August Derleth started doing, adding this sort of Christianity element to a lot of his... Oh no, everything's all happening, it's all evil started.
The foreshadowing is on, boys.
Yep, foreshadowing is on.
Editing, foreshadowing over.
Now I
Alarm over.
August Derleth started adding a lot of Christian elements to the Cthulhu mythos, the Lovecraft cycles, which I think is something that he would probably absolutely hate. Another thing I think would be an interesting one is, what does Lovecraft think about all the RPGs and card games that come out?
Possible to say. We can only speculate. But I know one thing is that all these RPGs and card games make the mistake, well, not all of them, I better qualify that, not all of them do this, but a lot of them make the mistake of giving the unknowable form that you can look at, stats that you can look up, and a way to defeat them, and all that adds up to a way to comprehend something that is supposed to be beyond human experience and comprehension, which is a bit of a mistake. These things are supposed to be able to drive you mad just by knowing about them.
But they make it seeming like they make that mistake in most RPGs for when they have god characters. They have to stat them so someone will have the urge to kill them or try to kill them.
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
Computer games are one thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm just going to point at World of Warcraft and go, Arthas, sons of bitches. I'm still not over that. Oh, by the way, David Warner. Yay!
Coming back for a Lovecraft inspired title.
Yep.
I got a question for you, boys.
Yeah.
In this scene, Sam Neill has drawn crosses everywhere, all over himself, all over his walls. On the crosses on his face, how did he stay inside the lines so well? It's the real mystery of this film.
Well, what he did is he stood at exactly the right point, looking at the glass in the mirror so he can vaguely see his reflection in the door.
I'd go with that, yeah.
Maybe, yeah, okay. Maybe.
Physics!
The only thing that he hasn't drawn crosses on is the floor and the bucket, it seems. His poop bucket.
It's interesting how this parallels what you were saying before about Christian elements being thrust in, and here he is thrusting Christian elements all over himself because he is aware of a more ancient power that predates Christianity, and he's sort of clinging to what he hopes will retain his sanity, a world he knows. Not to get ahead of us here.
Well, you see, I've always considered this idea. Is he doing that to keep himself protected, or is he doing that just so he can stay protected by staying inside the asylum? Because going outside is a bad idea. He never wants to be let out now. It's just him.
Because at this point, the apocalypse is on.
Yeah. The end of days is taking place.
Not that you know that from seeing these regular orderlies and this Joker coming in talking to him all fairly normal. You know?
Oh man, is this the FP all over again?
Fucking ducks.
Only these two know about the apocalypse. No one else does.
I've got another question.
Go for it.
He asked for a single black crayon. How did he get so much mileage out of one crayon? That must have been a whopper crayon, fellas. He's covered everything.
What they did is they brought him the entire outside of the Crayola factory. It was all just one big black crayon, but it was 6 foot tall. I've just noticed that the cross on his forehead is the Christian cross, but it's the Iron cross.
Cross. See, I saw it as Triple H's cross. He was all about the game in the 90s, the early 90s.
To go back to something we were saying before.
What was it? What the hell? He was still the Englishman at that point, wasn't he? Or Triple H?
I think so, yeah.
About 97 that he turned into the game, and he wants to play it.
Jeez.
To tie into something earlier on, I have only ever seen this man in one other film.
Which man?
The sweating man. The naughty sweating man who's been doing
this guy.
things. The other film was Mortal Kombat.
Who was in Mortal Kombat?
What is it with you in Mortal Kombat tonight?
I love Mortal Kombat. Every time I think of a new line film, I automatically think of Mortal Kombat. And to a lesser extent, the disappointment that was Scream. But
what if Shang Tsung showed up in this movie? Oh. If he was revealed as the true villain.
He was such a Kane.
Finish him quickly. Pay him.
The initials are nearly correct. Sutta Shank Sang.
Okay.
It's the kind of does parallel Stephen King himself though, with an S and a C being S and K, like Stephen King.
Well,
Actually, I thought this was when I saw Sandy King as a producer, I thought, is she related to Stephen King? Because that'd answer a lot of questions, but I don't think she is.
and I shall look it up. Because it's fascinating listening.
And who was the sweaty man from Mortal Kombat group?
Oh, he was Master Boyd.
Who?
He was the one who gave Liu Kang his invite to the boat.
Oh, really?
Yep. You misunderstand how many times I've seen Mortal Kombat.
Jeez, yeah, I can't even remember that guy. I just remember the guy that fought Goro, and he looked terrified. Art. And that's it, Art. I was going to call him RJ, but no, it was Art, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Sandy King is no relation to Stephen King, but has done been the producer of lots and lots of John Carpenter movies.
Good ones. And cat ones?
Big Trouble in Little China, Dark Mansions, Prince of Darkness, They Live. So, some of his best.
Good ones, yeah. All right.
Oh, They Live. What a movie.
Yeah, recently saw
Good
that
flick.
for the first time.
I haven't seen it since the 90s. They Live.
I recommend watching it again.
Yeah, I should.
If only just for the put on the glasses fight.
Oh, yeah, and like a 30-minute fight of two big dudes beating the shit out of each other.
Rowdy Roddy Piper and...
Keith David.
That's the one. I was going to say Goliath. Right.
Yeah, well, he is pretty much a Goliath himself.
This is one of my favourite sections of the film. I just wish it never showed him coming out of the building. I wish it didn't cut.
Mm.
I think the scene would have been much more effective if you just saw him walking towards the window in the background.
Yeah. They hold the shot on these two and have him completely in the background. Would be wonderful. That'd be much better.
But other than that, I always put myself into the position of the main character in a film. And I find this terrifying because they don't know it's happening.
No, they don't see it till it starts kicking off, which is really creepy because they don't expect it in real life.
No. They're busy with their job and then, holy shit.
But what was the shop he came out of?
It was a bookshop.
A bookshop.
It's
a bookshop. Okay, fair
shop
enough.
You'll see later on in the film when the kid asks, do you read Sutter-Kane?
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. Wonder if it was like a clothing store or something. He was just, searching for briefs.
How good is that guy's voice?
It's creepy.
Do you read Sutter-Kane?
Isn't he the movie trailer dude?
I actually don't know.
The old one, obviously, who's no longer with us. I think he might be, because I'm sure I recognize that voice.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to look this up.
News! Every movie needs their own news station.
It's just a shame it's not the guys from RoboCop.
Oh, God.
On tonight's news, plot-relevant information. Exactly what the audience needs to know, when they need to know it. Key details left out so that they're surprised later when the twist happens. Reliable news.
All day, every day.
Don't get that in real life.
Nope.
I love these book covers that they did for the many Sutter-Kane books.
They're rather good, eh?
Yeah, they're real nice.
They tie in lovely with the idea that he is the next Stephen King.
Yeah.
There's that damn Heston and his cold dead hands.
The Axe Maniac was played by Konrad Bergschneider, which is a fantastic name.
Okay. What has Konrad Bergschneider done?
He has just finished Calvin's Dream and was in Silent Hill Revelation 3D.
Ooh.
He was...
A movie I still feel I should watch.
A movie that proves that Mortal Kombat is still on the top of the heap as far as video game to film adaptations goes.
Yep. Another one that made the most money, though. I think that still belongs to Tomb Raider, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably.
We all know it's Super Mario Brothers.
Well, it wasn't Mortal Kombat Armageddon. What abomination.
Such a disappointment.
What the hell was that film? Oh.
Spinning. That's what that film was. Lots of spinning.
Yep.
I've blocked most of it out.
Oh, how you have.
All I remember is Jax getting up off the table, looking at his robo arms and saying, "That's what I'm talking about." Oh, yeah. Because it's the robot arms now.
And a fantastic jump. Well, the explosion goes on in the background.
And Johnny Cage dying in the opening scene for no reason.
But there was a very good reason. The actor didn't want to come back. He read the script.
And no one else did, apparently.
The best thing about that movie was Shao Kahn's actor, because he was terrible.
Yes. Half.
They couldn't even get Christopher Lambert to come back. No. And I'm pretty sure he'll do anything. He'll star in anything, that guy.
At this point, Christopher Lambert will happily do anything just to buy another boat, I think.
He should have a team-up film with Steven Seagal.
Oh. No, don't give Steven Seagal any more money. Please.
Come on.
Isn't he making all of his money from the direct-to-DVD movies now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you haven't seen Against the Dark, I recommend you see Against the Dark.
I haven't watched any direct-to-DVD movies.
Against the Dark is so...
recently.
Oh, Sutter Kane, big Cthulhu face. You'll be old and lonely, like Cthulhu.
Look at the merchandising in this film, fellas. Sutter Kane hats, T-shirts. You don't get any of that shit with Stephen King. Or, God forbid, H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yeah, I've got a plushy Cthulhu on my stereo in my bedroom that would disagree with you.
See, this is what I was actually going to bring up in this sequence. The fact that horror writers in general, including Stephen King, don't do much merchandise. You get the occasional T-shirt, the occasional sort of figurine or something based on a movie based on one of his works, but that's really about it. You don't get the T-shirts, the caps, any of that. Unless you're H.P. Lovecraft, because he's completely public domain. It doesn't cost anything for anybody to make anything based on his work or based on the man himself. So there is stuff everywhere. You go onto eBay and just type in Cthulhu, preferably spelling it correctly, because, good lord, there's some interesting stuff out there. You will find all these really weird things. And of course, public domain, don't have to pay anything.
I wonder if you do find stuff like what we saw here for Sutter Kane, where it's just a hat that says Sutter Kane.
I had
a hat that just says H.P. Lovecraft.
I did only once find a Hobbs End T-shirt, and that was only by fluke. I tried searching it again and never found it.
I would love a Hobbs End T-shirt.
I sent the link to you, and you said, "Oh my god, that looked awesome." And I think it was on Amazon, but I can't remember if it was the American one or the UK one. But never found it again.
I'm not doing any more research for the time being.
Oddly true to the film. You find Hobbs End, then you can...
Oh, shit.
I only found it by accident.
That would explain a lot about my life.
What dark path have you set us on?
You're already slipping, man. It's got its claws in you. You're on your way down.
That's fine. That would explain all the characters I know.
Another baffling thing is that you don't see it in this early scene, but you see it later on where he pulls that poster aside, and it's got the poster for the new book under the poster for the old book.
Yeah.
Is that preemptive postering? Did they know it was going to be there and knew what the art was going to be, so they just stacked them up?
Somebody knew.
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
What was exposition news again?
Should I blow the load? Yeah, I'm gonna start blowing some loads here, I think.
Okay. You're gonna shower us?
Yeah, everybody line up. There's some load blowing going on.
No, I'm gonna get my umbrella for this.
Oh, I'm not. I'm gonna take my hoodie down, open my mouth, and look to the sky.
But what are you talking about? What manner of load is this?
Well, what I'm saying, you've mentioned that there. Now, that ties into one of the general premises of this movie as it goes along. Is Sam Neill's character a character in his own right? Or does he exist because he's being written to exist?
The film would seem to suggest that he is being written to exist, because there's a little trick to the film at the end. Am I right to talk about the ending of the film? It's a little bit too early.
Well, put it this way. If you're watching this film for the first time with this commentary, you're doing it.
Yeah. I would suggest that if this film is your first encounter with Lovecraftian themes, I would say you're doing yourself a disservice, because this isn't the best avenue for that sort of thing. But anyway, at the end of the film, Sam Neill's character walks into a movie theater, and this film is playing. And I think it sort of sets it up so that the audience, the actual audience, us, can believe what is going on as sort of real, if you wanted to delve into the fantasy, but it's trapped because it's in a loop because every time you get to the end of the film starts again. And so Sutter Kane and his ghouly monsters can never escape from fiction into the real world, which is where we live.
Oh. That's a completely different take to what I've got. I like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that Nightmare on Elm Street film where he's real and he's trapped in fiction. It's the
New Nightmare.
Yeah,
wow.
That was sort of how I saw the ending to this film.
Yeah,
because it can never escape because the film keeps getting played. The extra dimensional forces that are trying to break through are continually pushed backwards into an infinitely deeper well of fiction because it keeps repeating. Because every time you get to the end of one repeat, you find that there is another repeat and you're already in that repeat. So not only can you never escape, you can never move. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah. What I took away was the idea that Samuel's character, he starts off being a real character, but is then swept into the fiction. He stops being his own man and becomes instead this cipher for Sutter Kane to pour all this stuff through.
Well, if you want to look at it another way, you can see that in the world of the movie, reality is changing. And it's changing because Sutter Kane's work is driving people mad, basically. And people are going through a sort of metamorphosis into creatures, as we see later. And it sort of ties into the way that language is how we construct our reality. And we can sort of never get away from it. The way we make reality is through language. It's how we understand the world around us. And when a part of that language becomes toxic, especially if it's a widely read source of linguistic material,
Twilight
becomes exactly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I'll explain why later if you're up. When it becomes toxic, it starts infecting you, and therefore reality will change because it's made of language, and the way we construct it for ourselves is linguistic. The real world for us can change into whatever Sutter Kane has dreamt up, in this world of the film.
Well, yeah, I mean, the sort of sociological aspect of it is that we as a species connect to our past through what we're told and what is written down, which is, it can be changed over a space of time. Oh no, double scare. Yeah, over the space of 50 years, how we look at how things have happened in the past, changes. Because of how the history is written differently and how things are changed. A good way of describing this is, not as much nowadays, but how Germany looked back at its participation in the Second World War. The way that in their history, it didn't happen, shut up now. So, according to the basic German schoolboy, the Second World War was something that's, wasn't really that important. Whilst to the rest of the world, it was a huge event that changed the shape of the world forever. As you say, it's the language and how we use it that changes the perception and that changes the reality around us. And Twilight's a shit book.
Twilight has the similar effect, but it doesn't ruin reality. It ruins a section of fiction, which is sort of vampire fiction, because it's so widely spread. The accepted default, if you will, because you can't do vampires wrong. I'm not going to say that, but a fictional creature, you can't do them wrong. But the accepted default mode for vampire has changed because of Twilight, and it has been changing ever since vampires were known of, but it's gone in a direction that, well, I'm not going to say is bad. I'm going to say I don't like it. I prefer different flavor of vampires, and I don't like Anne Rice vampires, which is the root of the Twilight vampires. They become sympathetic romantic figures instead of threatening romantic figures.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ramble on about it because it's got nothing to do with this film. But there's something to that.
It's interesting discussion, though, and that's the sort of thing that I like.
That's a whole thing. That's the stick here.
So this scene in the film's interesting because he put together the pieces of the cover and finds that there is hidden code inserted for, I presume for him especially, by Sutter Kane.
Yeah.
That locates Hobbs End, and presumably the T-shirt that you were looking for earlier. Hobbs End Tourist Board.
You'll leave.
There's Heston again.
with his cold, dead hands.
Cold, dead hands.
Nobody's
Out
touching
of my office.
Get your map away from me, you damn dirty. I've just noticed the very awesome painting that's on his wall.
Yeah.
A horrible, I was looking at a different painting. There's another one right in the corner. I think it's some horrible ghouly monster behind a typewriter, it looked like.
Really?
We should find out who did the art for this film.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Look up their portfolio.
I think
Fine, well,
it is
look it up
actually
so
the
that-
guy who has done a lot of the sort of 80s and 90s Stephen King.
yeah, probably.
It's got
That makes sense.
I think Stephen King's covers, a lot of them are really good. Like, a lot of his work is really good. There's a reason that he is, well, probably the most widely read horror, like definitely the most widely read horror writer, most successful one of the 20th century. And a lot of his work is just really good. A lot of it's not, but you're not at your peak all the time. And Stephen King, when he's at his peak in Misery, his best book for my money, wow, what a writer. Just quality stuff. Misery's great.
Misery is fantastic.
The film's okay. The
And
book's amazing.
fortunately, there is absolutely nothing to tell us who did the artwork.
Oh.
Well, in the film, it's Sutter Kane. What Sam Neill? What is
torn
this?
ever? Worst torn ever.
This Joker has a horn in the glove box of his car, presumably to wake up sleeping women while on cross.
It doesn't quite fit with the character that we've come to know so far, does it?
Does it? Does it? Because later on we realise that there's a possibility that he only does anything because he's written that way.
Yeah.
And having just happening to have a horn in your glove box is a really written in sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that a fictional character,
Yeah.
would have. So there's two ways to look at it. It can be that Sutter Kane wrote him to have a horn in his glove box, or it can be that this is a silly movie and they just bunged that in there. But I don't like to have that.
You see, I think you're absolutely right, which is why I pointed it out, that he's beginning to become, the way I see the film, of he's becoming less of his own man and more of the character, because his facial movements have changed. He's acting it differently, just slightly differently.
Are you saying he's more animated now in a sense?
Yeah, he's serious and to the point. He's read those books, and now he's becoming a little bit more fictional, is a very good way of putting it. He's not acting like a person, but like a film person.
Do you also think that's
Does it
maybe
look
due to the proximity he is to Sutter Kane and the actual writing itself and to Hobbes' end? Because you could argue that if we go down this path of looking at him as becoming a fictional character, when he's asleep during the whole no bridge sequence flying through space, I could look at that as that's him gone and he is now completely a fictional character because he just wakes up and he's like, oh,
yeah,
good night.
I could buy that. I think it'd be a much more stronger device if, I forget the female character's name, Sutter Kane's editor, if in the earlier scene, she wasn't such a caricature of the 90s businesswoman.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's intentional because she's changing too.
She's very
traditional. The traditional way, just letting her hair down.
And taking off the
usual
glasses,
colour.
which is weird. Why should she take off the glasses?
Well, see, it's a literary tradition, or it should say a film tradition, that it's a visual clue that she has escaped repression. She's further away from her boss now, so her glasses are off and the hair's down and it's no longer tied back, which are basically signs for, I think, feminine, repression. She's escaped the patriarchy and she's become free. And these sort of signs these days are generally widely laughed at because they're such a cliche now. And they were a cliche when this was made.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not exactly in. It's pretty elementary stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
Some would argue, and that's fine.
Here's an interesting one for you. I want you to pay close attention to the kid every time he goes past on the bike. Notice how he turns more and more into John Carpenter as John Carpenter looks these days. It's one of these things.
That's what he looked like, Doc Brown trying to get to 88 miles an hour. But, Marty, we gotta get to the DeLorean.
Because he is person. Now there's a Lovecraft movie right there.
Great Scott.
Back to the Pacific.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm really liking the sound of this.
We've got to get this.
Look out, the glasses are back on.
There we go, John Carpenter as he looks now. Which is weird because this film is nearly 20 years. Oh my God, this film's nearly 20 years old.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I'm just going to sit in this corner and cry for a second. That's not something I'd realised. In 20 years, crazy young kid and John Carpenter have merged into the same being.
He foresaw it in a dream, and he had to have it in the movie.
And they're trapped in a mind loop.
Yes.
This is crap, this bit where he ages. I think it's rubbish. Because he doesn't move like he's old. It'd be so much better if he was a haggard old man on the bike instead of kid on bike in makeup. This is what we get. See, look at him, fine.
Yeah.
Ease of motion. Unfortunate.
Entirely sure what that entire sequence was meant to do, to be honest with you.
Apart from freak the audience out a little bit, and to show that there's something not right here.
I mean, they play the same kind of idea later on.
Yeah.
The sort of looped area, and it works so much better. But for this time around, it just,
Isn't it meant to just be a bit of foreshadowing towards that for the future?
I think so.
Yeah. You're not meant to be blown away by it. You're just kind of meant to sit there and go, this is okay.
That's wrong.
It's really ham-fisted foreshadowing. Like, this kid on a bike sequence would have been way better if it was a little more subtle, like the scene in the cafe from before. We would just see the kid go past. We didn't have to hit him with the car. We didn't have to get out and look at him and then have... Because you stay with it too long and it loses its power, you know? At this point, she should be thinking, gee, that was weird, instead of having basically confirmed that she has left reality.
Yeah.
It'd be better for the audience as well, which is the whole point, I suppose.
I think this entire sequence is there. It's not for Trent's benefit, it's for Styles's. It's to sort of unhinge Styles. The Styles has got to become the path that Trent has to follow, so to speak.
There's no ambiguity, though. It's like, she's awake. This is happening to her.
Yeah.
She can't be like a video game character in a stealth game where you pop up in front of them, shoot them twice, then run away. Just rats. Probably rats. She has no chance here to go, that's weird. I wonder what just happened. Did I see that?
Well, no.
Because she did.
What I mean is,
she was in it long enough.
Basically, if you want to put it this way, the great old one stuck a funnel in her brain and poured the mad in. It's not to sort of keep her off kilter to sort of make her question what's happening around her. It's just literally pouring in the badness. So she starts blazing the trail for Trent to follow.
Yeah, maybe.
Plus, you need something spooky to be able to get into the spooky town.
Yeah. Nice covered bridge is good. Shades of...
Beetlejuice? Because I was going to say, is that the same one as Beetlejuice?
I was going to say Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but...
Yeah.
The covered bridge in that story symbolizes the difference between reality and the supernatural, and that's what we've got here as well.
And do you want to know something really depressing?
Yeah.
Bridge doesn't exist.
What do you mean?
That covered bridge does not exist in the town of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I've read that. Terrible.
It's a shitty little stone bridge.
And that bridge isn't even on the right place. Because doesn't the plaque on that bridge say, like, Bridge of Sleepy Hollow, and in small print, actual bridge 2 miles north, or...
Actual bridge was 2 miles north, now gone.
Looted by pirates.
Those damn...
Give it a bit of zazz. It's good for the tourists. Might go pirate spotting in Sleepy Hollow.
You know, landlocked Sleepy Hollow.
Famous for the pirate raids.
That's a river, I think.
It's more
than the Johnny Depp version.
It's more of a stream than a river.
It is. It's not very impressive. Couldn't get a longboat up it, so we can't even have Vikings.
There's just one Viking wading upstream. I'll get there eventually. And for some reason I speak like a pirate. Arr. And then Abel Gordon.
Ah, dear. This film also suffers from the least creepy kids that I've seen in living memory.
See, I never saw these kids as being creepy.
They're supposed to be, I think.
I saw them
Especially when you get...
Go.
You get, later on you get close up in their makeup and they look all ghouly and horrible and...
Oh, later,
Yeah.
the moment I see them as being sort of the mirror. Here is the innocence that's being stripped away.
Yeah. Because you do get one of Stephen King's favourite tropes. Yes, I think it's one of his favourite tropes. The angry small town mob with guns.
Mhm.
They're taking our children. Boom. Yeah.
For kids. Now, here's a nice little one for you. Pickman's Hotel.
Model not included.
I just wish there'd been a little model of the hotel somewhere in there. I think that'd been a fantastic thing. You've just... What's this? It's the model of the Pickman Hotel. But then again, all the sort of Lovecraftian references they make are a little bit more subtle than that, thankfully.
Well, not when they quote him.
Well, there
When
isn't...
they're reading Sutter Kane's books, aren't they directly drawn from Lovecraft's stories? I forget which ones now.
The Outsider, if memory serves me right.
Nah, it's not The Outsider.
Isn't it?
I've read The Outsider, but pretty positive it's not The Outsider.
To the research!
All right, to the research. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
If I was a fishman.
Fishman.
If I was a witch man, I'd, shit, what do witches do?
Yeah, they make things in cauldrons. They have creepy noses.
That's what's missing from this film.
Oh, a creepy nose.
It's not witchy enough. So here it says, rats in the walls and the haunter of the dark.
Oh, okay.
The sources. If the IMDb can be trusted, and I've got no reason to doubt it at this point.
It's just a shame that they weren't reading the book and just opened it up at one page. You went, the horror! Tickly! Tickly! It just like puts it back down and just is completely unaffected by it.
Yeah.
Now, this is a sequence I like, and I don't think it has the desired effect. Because I feel that it should be a creepy sequence. But it always reminds me of House 2.
House 2.
House 2. Oh, yeah.
Because there's a sequence here where she runs over to the window, opens it, and points at the big creepy church.
Mm.
Yeah.
And all I think of every time since seeing House 2 is the guy opening his cupboard and going, I've got a goddamn prehistoric bird in my kitchen!
This film, it's not very good at being creepy, is it?
It's unsettling. It does unsettling.
This film?
Yeah.
Or House 2?
No, this film.
You see, the only unsettling that this film gets is drawn completely from its premise. The film itself, it doesn't do it. It tries hard, but...
I found it creepy, or unsettling at least in some parts.
Out of interest, when was the first time you saw this film?
1994 or 95 when it first came out.
Okay.
Obviously, I'll be lad of 12
Oh,
or 13.
yeah. I'd have been about the same. Because that's kind of what got me, I think. The fact that I saw it at a young age kind of invested a lot into my brain.
It turned you to a fictional character. Who's writing you, Gruff? What sick mother's writing you?
Unfortunately, you think that there's somebody on the other side of this Skype call. There actually isn't.
Well, it's all his voice.
It's just a disembodied voice sitting on a computer.
No, I like the idea that it's just a book sitting next to microphones. No, I think that idea is perfect. That's great.
Sutter Kane, he's given up on books. Film didn't work, so it's audio books now.
And podcasts.
Podcasts, audio books. That's how we spell it.
Come to the Sutter Kane podcast.
I think you've just given me the idea for the April Fool's show this year.
You'll need to cut that out of the podcast then.
Oh, no, I never said what it was.
Oh, that's true.
As you say, it's nowhere near as simple as you're thinking.
That's good.
Here come the expendable yahoos.
Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone.
always felt the lead Yahoo looked particularly strange.
Wait for it. There is something I have to say here.
Does the lead Yahoo shoot his double barrel 3 times without reloading?
I think he does, but that's not the most
didn't
important
double
thing
check.
about it.
This is aging Steven Seagal Yahoo.
No, it is. Here's Vigo. You are like the buzzing of flies to him.
Is it actually the Vigo actor? Because I could. Really?
Yeah, that's Vigo.
Oh wow.
That is Vigo the Carpathian. This time not voiced by Max von Sydow.
He's gone downhill, old Vigo.
Well, you think that it's only been 5 years since Ghostbusters 2?
Yeah.
He aged.
I wonder how far downhill he's gone now.
I think he's probably dead by now. It must take some work to keep that giant watermelon of a head upright.
Oh, there's Proc now. The big reveal.
I am Jurgen. You may remember me from such films as Judge Dredd.
He has magnificent hair.
I'm Jurgen, and my hair. And here comes his dogs.
If he had a mustache, he would look like Mikey.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. He really would. People who know Mikey. He is such a cane.
Oh my God. Have you done the Moonbase 2 this week?
I have, yeah.
Damn it.
I did it last night. It wasn't my choice.
Damn it, damn it, damn it.
He wrote me that way.
Damn it. I've got a long-winded joke now. Fantastic.
Never use these jokes, these dogs, never film them from behind because their tails are silly.
And they have gigantic testicles. These dogs have some testosterone.
Oh shit, yeah they do. There it is.
I like the fact that each and every one of the guys that's been attacked isn't an actor.
Well, it's just a city.
That, the only person to actually try to defend themselves was Vigo the Carpathian.
It's because he's a mangy.
Everyone else was aiming their guns, but...
It's because here's Vigo. These dogs are like buzzing of flies to him.
Man, the buzzing of flies is annoying, though.
It is, but, yeah. If a Doberman is like a buzzing of flies, you can live with it, I think.
All I know about Dobermans is that you can make them dance in Moonwalker if you use your special move. That's how you beat them. See, if this was a crossover with The Wiz starring Jackson, then we'd have a film. Would have wiped out those Dobermans, rescued the kids, and turned into a car. It would have been amazing.
And then, of course, and then a spaceship.
Yes.
It would have gone off on a completely whole different tangent.
Oh, yeah.
It was the section with the cartoon rabbit that got me. Sam Neill and a cartoon rabbit. It was just odd.
Wouldn't be that different, really, would it?
Although I like the idea of Michael Jackson in his Moonwalker get-up instead of Jurgen. Just imagine the church doors swinging open and then just, wow, Shimon!
That would be creepy, since prior to that, there was a little child standing there.
Wow, I didn't make that connection or reference it. Wow.
See, that's what I thought you were going for. Yeah, that's really what I thought you were going for. All the kids were stolen and taken to a church, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow. Or it says Jackson Land.
So it just ties back into the Black Dynamite conversation we were having before recording.
So what is this Black Dynamite rubbish? I held my tongue then, but now I must know.
it's not rubbish, it's glorious.
I will
Is it classic blaxploitation or is it blaxploitation?
It's, what's his name? Keith Michael David sharing his love of blaxploitation films in the second greatest parody ever made.
Yep. Keen.
Oh, we will introduce you to a scene once we have finished recording this.
Very well.
Oh, yes.
Now the picture on the wall's changed. I like this picture on the wall there. Of this film.
It's the little subtle things like that. I always enjoy reality not quite doing what you expect it to do.
Yeah, and these little things are the things that unsettle me, because it's like, that's not right. Surely, no. Paintings don't move. Like this was, like Sam Neill's doing what I would be doing as well. If I saw a picture turn, I'd be like looking behind it and stuff.
Has the woman that plays Mrs. Pickman ever been young?
Nope. She was born at the age of 80 and has stayed. She's in stasis.
Frances Bay was born in 1919.
Frances the Ever Living.
Oh God! Oh, actually, no. She died last year.
Oh.
Well, I feel bad.
Did she, or was she just reported to have died?
She worked right up into her death, though.
God.
Yep.
What was she?
The last
Burlesque dancer.
she was in a TV series called The Middle, where she was Aunt Ginny.
A retired
I think
burlesque.
Sam Neill's gone back into his former mode of hard-nosed insurance fraud detector.
Mhm.
In this scene, he's trying to detect Mrs. Pickman,
Yeah.
Her kinky ways.
interrogate. Yeah, she's a kinky bird, this one. It's the eyes.
The eyes have
And
seen so much.
She's damn lucky, you know, if Sam Neill wasn't distracted there, I would have loved to see how that scene would play out.
Yeah.
What would you do, though, if you saw that? What would your reaction be if you saw this old naked man, like, handcuffed to his wife's ankle?
How did she get there with him handcuffed? Did she drag him in?
Yeah, the power of evil.
Yeah. Guess all right, the power of evil.
Do we know who naked old man is?
It's her husband.
Well, yeah, I know it's her husband, but I mean the real man. Did he get credited? And what was he credited as? Naked old man.
He'd be Mr. Pickman, wouldn't he?
I really hope it would just be naked man.
Wouldn't they use the character name? Unless that is the character's first name. I'm looking for Mr. Pickman. Mr. Naked Man Pickman.
No, he's uncredited.
Oh, poor naked old man. They probably just pulled a hobo off the streets.
He gets hacked to pieces for nothing, yeah.
Which
terrible.
is really annoying because all the kids have been credited.
Maybe he didn't want to be credited. He was like, you know what? I'm too old for this shit.
No, I found him. His name is Robert Louis Bush.
There we go.
Yeah.
And
How did he get credited?
I had to do some digging to find that. He was also in The Ghost of Mars
Oh, God, really?
As-
It's happening.
as the key costumer. He is the costume.
Fiction is closing in on us.
Oh, good Lord, he's not an actor. He is the costume supervisor for multiple movies. He has been in John Carpenter's Vampires as the news anchor, Village of the Damned as Mr. Roberts, Mouth Madness as the hotel man, apparently. Body Bites, the John Carpenter short story film, as Man, The Elephant Man as Messenger, and Urban Cowboy as Dwight. But I like the fact that he's the costume supervisor on a lot of films, and in this film he turns up naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just probably wanted it as a change of pace.
I think that has
Gosh,
to be a
look.
joke.
Carpenter, if I'm going to be in your movie, I want to be naked.
Damn it, Carpenter. I've been working my ass off to get a body like this.
He's not talking to John Carpenter, he's just gone through the yellow pages. Carpenter.
Goes through them systematically like that.
I'm naked. Are you Carpenter? Standing on people's doorways. Are you John Carpenter? I'm naked. Handcuff me to an old woman.
Yeah.
Here's something that gets on my nerves. The upside down cross.
That seemed out of place.
It always
Yeah, it is.
does, because it's, as I said before, it's the Christianization of a theme. The theme is that these creatures existed before humanity. So having the anti-Christian symbols lying around just kind of doesn't work for me at all.
Very much. They're not counter-Christian, these things. They don't represent the devil. They're
No.
Other. Although they did kind of set it up earlier when they had St. Michael like striking down the devil. And they spoke about how it was a symbolic representation of the unknowable beyond.
Mm-hmm.
The image of the devil, I mean. So I can sort of see that they set up the connection before chucking in the inverted cross in. They at least gave it that.
True enough.
For me, I don't like the inverted cross, but I can make sense of why it's all set in a church and they have these references, because it is in the book and it is kind of that stereotype thing to have written in, you know, a generic kind of horror book, to have it relate these horrors related to angels and demons and have it set in a church.
And again, it's more Stephen Kingy than it is Lovecrafty.
Yum.
To use Christian stuff. I think it's done that a few times. At least as a basis for a counterweight to the horror that's conjured.
Like the dynamic of costumes they went for here. Here, Sutter Kane all in black, her all in white.
That's an interesting set, isn't it?
Yeah, and the set all in, I don't know, red.
Ram block.
Yeah,
Distorted red.
give you the idea it's
Colours
like
of...
the inside of somebody's stomach or just skin played on the wall.
I thought it looked like a burning forest because you got these vague, like skeletal trees and the colours of fire in the distance. That's what it looked like. Sort of a really active representation of decay, if you want to look at it that way.
That's exactly how I saw it. I see all this to be the sort of the breakdown of the university's most basic level, just this decaying, rotting reality as it's slowly seeping through.
Yep.
I am annoyed that they didn't go back to the other set, though, which opened the door the first time, that looked a lot like the Emperor's throne room from Star Wars. But like a steampunk version of. It's all...
Teach Jedi weapon. Sam Neill.
That's what the Star Wars prequel movies were missing.
Yes, Sam Neill.
I would like to see Sam Neill in a lot more things.
It's not like he doesn't work.
Not on movies that I watch, though. Damn it.
He's he does star in a few things that I don't watch, I know that much.
Mm-hmm. He's a hard-working guy.
A lot of people think he's a pretty boring actor, though. He's very default.
No. Sam Neill is a very... She really likes having her head rubbed. Screaming.
Yeah, I was going to make a sex reference, actually. But...
Oh, okay. Raping.
Oh, no, she likes the head being forced down.
Right.
Grab her by the hair.
Raped by... Reality has been raped and violated, I suppose. You could see it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, blood's not really coming out of her eyes there. That was a bit of a fluff by the makeup.
No.
Guys.
And this happens to someone else later. I think it's a guy in a bookshop. It looks like it's just coming out the side of their nose.
Yeah.
Like they...
Sometimes it's filmed okay because you don't. It's when she leans back and the light kind of shows the blood doesn't go all the way into the eye where it kind of fails.
Oh, rub me, you bitch.
How do you feel about the lack of continuity with Sutter Kane?
He's all right.
It's every time he turns up, there's always something odd about him, but it's never the same odd thing twice.
I like it. I think it's appropriate for the film because he is what makes the reality of the film mutable. So it's no surprise that he himself is mutable. He's as unreal.
You can't describe exactly what's wrong with him either. Like, is he a demon? Is he not?
Yeah, he's just a guy who encountered the other. He was the first thing to mutate, apparently.
Apparently he mutated another thing out the back of him sometimes.
Just because he wanted to, and because it would work for that sequence.
Yeah. That's the real him. Jürgen Prochnow is just an image so that these people understand him. He's completely changed now.
He's a mix.
As we see later. Oh, see that painting, those ghouly things on the painting? They look amazing. I do. Yeah. They're way better than the actual rubber monsters this film throws at us.
I actually really like the rubber monsters.
Do you?
Apart from the one in the downstairs basement, which we're going to see soon, I thought they looked really nice.
I know this day and age we're supposed to be really happy when practical effects show up, and because we're saturated with CGI and all that stuff. I know how we're supposed to feel, but this movie really suffers from a bad case of the 90s, man, because it's got these ghouly monsters, but it doesn't have the excess and the ingenuity of the 70s and early 80s that gave us the likes of The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got these monsters that are really upgraded, high budget, I guess like Power Ranger enemies, and you see little flashes of them, but it doesn't do anything with them.
See, I think the flashes really give them something because you don't see all of it, and I find when you see all of of a prosthetic creature, like here, that shot there, you can tell it's not real. If you just show glimpses of the prosthetic creature, it gives you the idea of what it looks like, and then you can fill in the rest with your own mind.
I just think using shadows or something would have been much more effective than having actual ghouly monsters, because, like I said earlier, you're giving form to the unknowable, the unformable, or what is supposed to be unformable.
I think this is a sequence where it works brilliantly.
Yeah, that works. That was good.
Because there's nothing, your imagination just creates it.
Yep.
And it doesn't help when she does the entire I'm losing me sequence earlier on, which to this day I still find kind of creepy. Just the basis of what it is that she's saying, she's losing herself.
I don't think she delivers it as well
There's
as
another-
others could, but
There's another crap monster in the greenhouse or whatever that is.
That thing's from Mutantronics.
Is it?
Is that-
Like
No.
the American...
The American Guyver film. It actually isn't, but it looks like it should be.
Yeah.
Looks like it should be.
yeah, that one looked like a bodysuit. That's something you just want a couple of shots of, not like they did there.
When we get to the Wall of Monsters later on, I've got some interesting facts about that one. Because the Wall of Monsters is both a crying shame. And look, she's there. This is the type of thing that I like. I like this kind of mutable reality.
What about the gratuitous language there?
I love that bit. I wanted
What's
Sam
the
Neill to say, "No, fuck you." How do you like it, creature?
It would have been that if it was Arnold Schwarzenegger instead of Sam Neill.
Get to the chopper.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. I mean, I'll always have a chopper, but when I do, I get to it.
I saw you put that on Facebook yesterday.
I only think of Schwarzenegger because I was watching Pumping Iron last week. Wow.
It's like coming.
Pumping Iron, wow. That's like, normal movies have like a special edition or a director's cut. When you look at Pumping Iron, its special edition is just called Pumping Iron. Wow.
This. Speaking of the horror of this film, anyway, here is the sort of thing that kind of gets to me and stays with me. Even though it's not a great sequence, but the idea behind the sequence stays with me more than the sequence does. The fact that he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Quite good. That's what I mean when I said before that the film doesn't live up to its own premise. It doesn't deliver its own ideas well enough.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been really good. And this is the sort of movie I'd like to see get a remake, is the movies that are almost really good but don't quite make it.
I see what you mean.
Another roll of the dice to do this movie really good.
You
Maybe.
in the car.
I love tentacle ladies. See,
Just use the horn on her.
Are you sane yet? What how?
Oh, she's so playful. Oh, you kinky bitch, eat those keys.
Give me my keys back.
Oh, she loves having fingers in her mouth.
This is ineffectual. Go for the horn. Where's the horn?
It's gone.
Wasn't even in.
Was it ever there to begin with?
Yes, it's been looted. One of those possessed villages or whatever they are should have the horn and get.
Instead of a flaming torch.
You know, tickly. I never realised how much this sequence involves Styles getting punched in the face.
Oh, it looks great. I don't think... Could they do it in this day and age? Could they have a woman being punched in the face? So close? Yeah.
Half of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters is Gretel being punched in the face.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, sweet.
Oh, God.
Maybe worth to watch.
The dark plot continues.
Because it's good for the book. That's what I say to the ladies as well when I try and make out with them, just randomly.
Just walk up to them. Couple of tentacles attached to you. It's good for the book.
No. He wrote me this way.
Just like smearing yourself in caviar.
In jelly, sir.
Caviar and jelly.
Get that water slide out and impress them.
What do you... That is the shittest TARDIS ever. There, I came out that old. Traveled through time, not how you expected.
Look a bit like the first Doctor, though.
I'm William Hart,
Yeah.
bitches.
So here's another wasted effect.
Really good contortionist. The noises are fantastic.
Yeah.
But that rubber face just ruins the entire...
Ruins it. And you look at it too much. You get to see it too much.
Yeah.
And this sort of thing, if you let the audience look at it too much, they figure out how it's done and it loses all of its effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like The Exorcist where they have the same or similar sort of upside down.
You know something?
business.
I think the problem here is that the clearer quality has ruined a lot of it. Because I watched this originally on a recorded from TV VHS.
Yeah.
So I think having that sort of degradation of quality in the film stock itself, kind of helps the film a lot.
I think it helped a lot of old movies to have not them quite as clear and crisp as they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very 90s film in its look.
Yes,
Can't help it. That's when it was made. It's not a fault of the film. It's just a fact.
Deliciously 90s. Mouth-wateringly 90s. All you needed was some pants that were black and had purple and green triangles on with swirls. For no reason.
All it needed was a rap song.
Yes. Oh. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Sam Neill, go Sam Neill, go.
Go Sam Neill, go Sam Neill, go. Go Sam Neill, go. That's turning to Three Musketeers. Val.
The 90s weren't a great decade for the horror film. Till right near the end, I guess.
Well, you mentioned New Nightmare earlier on, and I still think that New Nightmare is probably the best, maybe one of the best, but it's probably my favourite of the Freddy Krueger films.
Yeah, very probably.
Just because of its general premise and that ripping down of the sort of...
My point stands, though. That is like one of the exceptions to the rule that the 90s didn't put out good horror movies.
Event Horizon.
Lovely film.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Lovely. Another Sam Neill cracker.
Oh, yeah.
Some people like to think that Event Horizon takes place in the Warhammer 40,000.
Oh, yes. We have discussed that. Very previous podcast, yeah. We did that on a podcast.
Don't want to go over old ground, then I'll just...
No. Throw your thoughts into this one.
I think it's a really good piece of personalized continuity, if you want to see it that way. I'm a big fan of building my own continuities and ignoring the stuff I don't like. I love doing that. It's like the Halloween films. The Halloween films, I've got my own personal continuity. Actually, I've got 3 depending on my mood. One is just Halloween.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
The other one is Halloween and Halloween 2. And that's it.
Yep.
And the third continuity is Halloween, Halloween 2, and H2O.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, H2O.
I like that movie. I don't have to say that I like it in secret anymore either, because it's somehow become accepted to like H2O, even though it was hated for many years. Shit. Terrible.
Wasn't the one out of HTO the shaky cam one set in the...
It was the reality show where
it was amazing.
Oh, I have shot better content than that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It has the most... I better not say the most, but it's got one of the most dreadful retcons of an ending in the history of the universe.
Yeah, it does.
H2O's ending, beautiful. All right? Lovely. Ended.
Yep.
Closed the series. Good. And then, no, some convoluted Rube Goldberg Scooby-Doo plot happens at the start of Resurrection, I think it was called. And lordy, set the tone for the film.
It's beautiful.
Chuck the retcon at me because I can't remember what it was. And to be honest with you, I don't give 2 shits about spoiling this one.
He put
it was an abomination.
He put the mask on one of the medics, and that was the one Jimmy Lee cut the head off.
Oh, I'd forgot about that.
It was fantastic. It's like, what? No, you wouldn't do that.
That's why I don't like Resurrection, because it's one of those sequels that retroactively makes the earlier film worse.
Oh, I just love how deliciously terrible it is.
Yeah, I know. Better get onto Halloween shit, though. It's talking about Event Horizon, a good movie. And it's 40K Connection, which I think is pretty good. I think that's a nice way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because 40K, like Warhammer 40,000 is one of those things where you can't trust the people in charge of the IP to make good on the promise of the IP, so you've got to do it yourself a lot of the time. And you can do much worse than Event Horizon. It's good. Have you done a podcast on Event Horizon, lads? I think it's worth.
We did on the Shut Up and Watch This, which you can find at www.nerdsphere.blogspot.com.
Plug.
That's me. I think the Event Horizon show is what eventually ended up being this Lurkers in the Lobby project.
I think it was.
So.
In all honesty. As me and Andy discovered, we have the same love of horror.
Yeah.
And the same love of Sam Neill.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'd love him to be the meat in a Andy Adams sandwich.
Yeah. You know, Sam Neill, he's the kind of actor that if, like, the old studios had lived, he'd be in, like, Hammer or Universal. He'd be a studio mainstay.
Oh, yeah.
Starring 50 Dracula movies through his life, if that period could be extended.
If the old style filmmaking still existed, I love this idea of, oh my God, I'm sitting on his knees. That is more horrifying than anything else in this movie.
Needs all
Jurgen Prochnow lap. Yeah.
They also agree. Sam Neill would be a leading man constantly, instead of being sort of relegated not to smaller budget films, because he does quite a lot of different types of films all over the place. But I think his last big budget film was I'm trying to think what it was called. It was not Escape to Witch Mountain, but the other one.
Jurassic Park.
I can see where you get confused though, with the aliens and whatnot. But, I mean, what he's currently doing is he's just finished off Alcatraz.
Oh, the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Where he basically is Batman.
Oh man. All right, I could buy it.
Unfortunately, he's the best thing in the series. The rest of the series isn't very good. But it's a shame that he's been relegated to those kind of roles through his life.
Yeah. An actor born in the wrong era, maybe.
Very much so. I mean, he got a lot
Mind you.
of the tail end of the 80s and early 90s.
I wouldn't transplant him through time or anything because I don't want to upset the delicate balance of the Peter Cushing, Stanley, Christopher Lee. Oh God! But
I remember the days I created Dracula. I was there putting a gopher into a wood chipper, and I thought, blood, that's scary.
it's got to be set in New York. You got to write what you know. I'm from New York. This is Stanley.
Do drugs, kids.
I would love to see a Dracula movie with starring Stanley as Dracula, seducing young ladies.
It wouldn't be seducing them, you'd just be walking up to them, like grabbing them by the neck and dragging them off. To the Stan Cave.
Which, like in real life, I would imagine.
Stan Lee's a player. I'm telling you that right now.
He's rich. He don't care. He's old and rich.
He's also Iron Man now.
We're coming up to your wall of monsters here. Get your trivia ready.
Okay, it's a mixture of trivia and points I want to make. I love the door, for a start off. I love the oozing, pulsating door, which is instantly ruined by shittest effect ever.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. I get the idea.
The idea wasn't that. The idea, it was going to be more, he would be turning pages rather than ripping himself open in this terrible effect. So as he sort of stopped moving like a person, instead of moving more stop motion, like the flicking of pages, the sort of door would open, everything would come through. Which I think sounds like a much better idea. They just didn't have the budget to be able to do it, unfortunately.
This is fair enough.
And I'll tell you, ripping himself open, it's not a bad idea. It just didn't work. It doesn't look any good.
No, it's just like a budget.
Yep.
I like the fact that the word I can really pick out there is boldness.
I see Hobbs' End. Oh, sorry, and Hobbs' End.
I can see Solaris.
A film that I still don't understand.
For some reason, the tunnel behind him makes me think of Geiger.
To be honest, it makes me think of Event Horizon.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I like the idea of sort of cutting a sequence of this film, so it just ends up him being Sam Neill in Event Horizon running through that tunnel.
When he transports back, he just transports into Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Looks like a Dark Eldar tunnel to me, all spiky and black and...
Lack of sex slaves.
Yeah. Like a true bondage.
But it'd place this film in the 40K universe as well.
That would be an idea.
That'd be a hell of a thing.
Right. Here is The Wall. Now, The Wall, I think, is a fantastic idea and a wonderful creation, but they don't go either way with it. Right?
Right.
Because you already see glimpses of it, which is fair enough. It's a good idea to already see glimpses of it. But the fact is, it's a 9 by 7 foot wall of monstrosity that is being puppeted by 12 people.
Jesus. Really? 12 people?
12 people to push it forward and move all the bits.
Jesus.
And I feel that they don't go either way with it. You don't get to see enough of it for it to work, or you don't get to see enough glimpses of it for it to work. It bounces between, it's right in the middle ground, and I think that's kind of why it doesn't work as well as it should. That's not to say that technically it isn't amazing, because it is.
No.
Yeah.
It's fine, technically. I would have left it out, but Hellraiser, it ain't.
Which Hellraiser?
The first one.
Good man.
The only one.
Good man.
Personal continuity. Although, you look, honestly, I don't mind 2 that much either. It's got the
No,
same
no.
style in it.
No, 2's alright. It's when you get to Bloodlines. That's when it all goes horribly wrong.
I haven't seen 1 past Bloodlines, I don't think. I stopped watching them.
Or Pinhead in Space. That's also a terrible film.
Jesus. Is that actually the title of a movie?
No, I can't remember what that.
That's good old.
I think that one actually is Bloodlines. I'm thinking of the other one.
Hmm.
But there's one of them that is basically not a Hellraiser film until the last 5 minutes, where Pinhead just turns up, gives the guy a bit of exposition, then leaves.
Sounds like it was a whole other film before they decided to make it a
Completely.
Hellraiser film.
Completely.
That's one of those horror series that lost its way, meaning it lost the point of the original film and started being about monsters showing up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Or as we say in
What's
the
the
UK, a bit was.
It is.
It was. At least that's what I say. No one says that. I say it.
Well, the problem with the Hellraiser film is that the first film is a very shut and cut movie. It does exactly what it needs to do and then ends. And then everything else that came after that defangs the monster by adding more to the mythos, which it didn't need.
Very much so. Very much so.
All I know of Hellraiser is it has Mr. Garrick in, at least one of them from Deep Space Nine, apparently.
It has the amazing Doug Bradley, a man who you really want to be able to sit down and talk to because he is fascinating.
In a creepy way.
No, just awesome. Yes.
Flip of robot monster, fellas.
Do we know what movie that's from?
Robot
Monster.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Which is one of the oddest films I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's amazing.
It's post-apocalyptic and also not post-apocalyptic, but it is post-apocalyptic. Yeah. Craig Charles once made me watch it.
It's a fine film.
By that I mean Craig Charles once had a series on Channel 4 showing off sort of old B movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He'd introduce them, and throughout the entire thing he would just sort of keep saying, and Robot Monster.
He and Keanu Reeves in.
And then eventually, my God, it almost is, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not actually him, but it looks like him.
I love this idea, the idea that the package keeps following him.
Keanu Reeves' biggest fan.
Keanu Reeves' older, more talented brother.
And I love the look Sam Neill gave him as he left that place, like, you utter fuck. I know what this is, but you utter fuck. Damn it, Bill. Or was he Ted?
I thought he looked like he was thinking, was that Keanu Reeves?
I've seen The Matrix 5 years before it came out.
It was shit then, it's shit now.
Oh.
There's another parallel, this film and The Matrix. Sort of similar reality mutating theme.
It's
Trapped inside a fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I really want to see Sam Neill just kung fu kick somebody over a mountain.
Oh, yes.
Right. Speaking of sequences which work fantastically, I adore this entire sequence of events. It's just how matter-of-factly he puts it together. As Sam Neill is sitting there desperately needing a shit.
Default Sam Neill, then.
Well, Sam Neill just throughout his entire life always needs to shit.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that being Michael Jackson.
The source of his best performances.
I'm God now, you understand?
Oh, does he say God? 'Cause I always heard it as gone.
Yeah.
All right.
It's God. It wouldn't make sense otherwise, what?
No, I'm gone now. It makes lots of sense and is a much better line. Are you sure it's God?
I'm pretty sure it's God. I'm
No,
God
it's not.
now.
I always saw it as gone. I love this. I just absolutely love this. Because
Love that scream.
that is a complete breakdown.
According to this note on IMDb,
Mm-hmm.
Sutter Kane says my favourite colour is blue.
Yep.
And according to this, every time any character has a close-up, their eyes are blue.
Oh.
Can we confirm this?
Well, that lady has blue eyes, it seems. Light blue, but...
Sam Neill's eyes are bluey green. Like, you could lose yourself in Sam Neill's eyes.
Oh, yes. That's a really interesting little fact, if it's at all true.
True.
Yeah.
If true.
Would we agree that Lady's eyes are bluey?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll...
What I'll have to do at some point now is go back to the beginning of the film and have a look at some of those characters, because I can think of at least 2 that don't have blue eyes, and see if there's any close-ups on them.
See if they have lenses put in.
In one case,
Sometimes,
I'm hoping not. Because
They have freaky eyes sometimes.
No, actually, yeah, when anyone's got the double iris, the eyes are blue.
That's true.
Yeah. That would suggest that Sutter Kane's power extends well beyond Hobbs' End, even at the start of the story.
Well, I suppose his story at the beginning of the movie is causing chaos, and he even mentions that it's been translated into most languages and is read more than the Bible. Even
that's after it's got out.
No. This is when Sam Neill's talking to him in the church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it makes you think that everything had already taken place and there was nothing to stop it. And this is purely just to fuck with Sam Neill.
Heston again.
Yeah. And no
Graham
one
Heston.
touching his hands. I like how the office has changed.
Yeah.
All references to Sutter Kane and the style of books that he was publishing have completely gone.
Yeah.
If you look at the office itself is different. It's a different location.
Yeah, it's ground floor. Is it?
Seems to be.
Very interesting.
It's not the top of a big, expensive building anymore. It's almost like a low rent. Well, not low rent, but it's nowhere near as fancy as it was.
Yeah, it's not mega corporation.
No.
With 50 slave girls or whatever they are, nubile office wenches hovering around Heston all the time. And we'll look very closely here. Let me see. His hands appear to be both warm and alive in this secret.
But you can't touch them, so we can't confirm this.
Well,
Yeah, well, we can't confirm it, unfortunately.
And if he takes the book, if he goes brrr.
I like the idea of Mr. Heston being Jabba the Hutt and having slave girls.
Gorilla.
The Sam Neill de Sutter Kane.
Some guilty prop in the chair.
Actually, no, it looks like he is still at the top of a building. It's just shot from very low angles, so you can't tell.
Okay.
I thought I could see a street out there.
Yeah, I thought it certainly looked like a street and a little pond.
See, I looked at that as like a little terraced area where you could go out and have a wander about.
I thought you said terrorist area. Bloody hells. It's like a playground. Kids here, terrorists there.
Right.
Buy your latest terrorist.
You see the guy that's on the Sutter Kane cover?
Yes.
On the Hobbs End horror cut. I'm assuming that's meant to look like Sam Neill, but doesn't. Because that looks more like the guy from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. To me.
There's the bleeding eye effect again.
Yeah.
Oh, blue eyes. Yeah.
Blue eyes, ahoy.
Makes a good point. You should have seen this coming. I love it.
Oh, the cop in the
How
background.
did he get halfway through the book before he left the bookshop?
Some people are really fast readers. Maybe he just went to the toilet and started masturbating while reading the book.
And then died.
Maybe.
That's one way to go.
Woke up as a elder thing. If I was a dead man.
Meanwhile,
And
the
David
asylum.
Warner.
Do you think David Warner had to go for a poop during this storytelling?
I think he went.
Well, the bucket's right next
Yeah,
to it.
exactly. He said, please continue, don't mind me. Just takes his pants down and takes a massive shit in the bucket.
That would be horrifying. I think that would be more scary than the story.
Looks at it amazed, shows it to Sam God. Have you ever seen one like that?
It's blue.
It's breathing at him. Ava shit.
Sam Neill put a lot of work into those crosses in this cell.
He did.
It's a lot of detail there.
I don't think the one on his forehead's quite the same as we saw at the beginning of the movie.
Let's have a look.
I think it looks a little
Triple
off.
H one.
Yeah.
It's
It's a bit
turned
more
into
flat.
just
It's a big T. He now supports Mr. T.
Oh, wow. You pity the fool that don't reach sort of cane. Pity the fool that don't grow tentacles.
Let's be honest, though. Who doesn't support Mr. T?
It's true. How about if that was the thing? The twist was, this would be a really bizarre twist. The twist was actually these weren't crosses. They were just symbols for Mr. T.
He's trying to summon Mr. T.
Yeah.
We've made it to the other bookend now, by the way.
Yep.
Signaling the closing stretch of the film.
Here comes John Glover again. Oh, well, here is John Glover.
See, I quite like this. David Warner is just under the impression that he's completely mad. Glover is, do you read Sutter Kane?
Don't you? Is that okay?
I
It's pretty good.
don't read. I just think that's quite a nice little way of doing it.
Yeah, it's very good. I think that's I couldn't think of a better way of doing it, unless that'd require an extra sequence if they had him find like a Sutter Kane book on the desk of Dr. Chilton or whatever his name is. I forget his name.
Yeah, Dr. Chilton.
That sounds like it could have been a deleted scene, potentially.
It would have been a little bit more, but in a movie you can't afford like extra time to
Oh, no.
when you want to meet how long your movie's supposed to be. You've got to count every second.
Yeah, between the running time of what the movie is and the budget that they had, they took it to the absolute limit that they could.
Yep. I like that they did that.
Mhm.
I like it when movies do that, actually. They use every resource.
Unfortunately, in this case, some of it doesn't quite work, but I think a lot of it is fairly effective.
It's a valiant effort at a really good Lovecraftian mythos story. Not only a mythos story, even it's an apocalypse story. Really valiant effort.
I like the idea of just a personal one-man apocalypse story. It's all just based around what happens to him. The rest of the world you don't actually see. And I think that also gives it a fair bit of power. You're just as sort of left in the lurch as he is.
It's one man's story.
It's like the beginning of, what is it, 28 Days Later?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
It comes out of this hospital. Again, we're in a hospital and or an asylum or whatever. And everyone's gone or dead. And everything's a wreck.
Sutter Kane books everywhere, which I thought was interesting.
Uh-huh.
I assumed the first time I watched it was just like documents and papers, but then I had to look at it and went, oh no, it's Sutter Kane's books. Interesting. Does that mean the Cthulhu monsters came in with books and started showing them everywhere?
Yeah, dude.
They just are going, ruff, 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 ruff.
Oh, the idea the books are like grenades. People have been throwing the books in, and just creatures have been coming out of the books.
That sounds like an awesome game mechanic right there.
I wonder how we
Like
can clean all that up.
Didn't the Bible do that in Castlevania? They use the Bible, but it spins around you and pages go everywhere.
I've never played Castlevania games.
The Symphony of the Night, I think, had that function. And
That sounds familiar. Then again, Symphony of the Night is a crazy game made by crazy people. And
it certainly is.
Especially now as it's on Xbox Live.
Yep.
And possibly the PlayStation Network if I cared enough.
Yeah.
And the PSP, if you care enough.
Hey!
But it's also got Rondo of Blood, the PSP version.
Has he?
Reason enough. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Right.
In 2 different versions of Oracle.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Mm-hmm. It's got like a modern Fancy Pants graphics version and classic PC Engine graphics version.
Oh.
It's got to be a bit of alright. And it's okay. That game. A lot of people think it's the best one. I disagree. Castlevania 4 on the SNES is the best one.
Oh, thank God you didn't mention the N64 games.
Nope. Although I secretly do like those as well.
Right, so we are now coming to the end, which I think is an interesting thing, because it blurs the lines on the poster. The film is done by John Carpenter, released by New Line Cinema, but all the actors are the character names.
I hadn't noticed that.
The rest of the crew is completely legitimate.
Mhm.
Actual film crew.
Well, this is something I love, because this is a complete and utter breakdown.
It's really well acted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brilliant way to end the film.
Yeah.
There's that laugh. Oh my God. Jesus.
As he just completely and utterly snaps.
It's the eyes that really sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
And then the fear as he just goes.
Roll on the credits. And that damn music comes back. Oh, what is that all about?
It's the 90s.
Yeah, I know. It's the 90s, all right.
Deliciously 90s.
We require more Vespian gas.
I love how Mrs. Pickman is the first of the cast to be rolling up on the credits there.
Star of the show, Mrs. Pickman.
Mrs. Pickman.
Robert Louis Bush, hotel man. Who was the hotel man?
That was
Oh,
the man that was naked.
naked? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said he was uncredited.
He was, but I managed to find him on IMDb. But
I see.
only IMDb had him credited, which is quite weird, actually, that he's on the credits at the back of the thing.
Yeah.
That's very
Now,
good.
they slipped a gag in the credits. Like,
You think?
did any of you find out about that? Yeah, there's a gag in the credits down the bottom with the disclaimer.
Oh, I have never noticed.
There's they slipped a bit of a gag in there. Should we spoil it, or should we just wait till it shows up?
I'm thinking I'm going to wait for it to turn up because I've never noticed.
It's in the depths of the credits. It's right where you're sick of watching the credits and you stop paying attention.
Is it anywhere as good as the, I think it's Naked Gun 2, where it has Tale of Two Cities, written by Charles Dickens?
No, I've never seen Naked Gun 2. But that sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm. There's absolutely hundreds of them in there. There you go. Costume supervisor, Robert Bush.
Very reliable man.
Especially when you want a naked man to be tied up. Dogs
Right away. Alvin Animal Rentals.
Oh, they're renting out a dog.
I can just imagine the scene at the rental office. He's sitting at the desk and some dude bursts in his office attire, sweating bullets, tugging at his collar. Oh, I need a dog for a week. Be amazing. Have you got any dogs? I need one for 1 week. Slaves cash on the table.
Hang on, Craft Services, Starcraft Services Incorporated.
What?
Yeah, the craft services was Starcraft Services.
What?
Honey wagon driver.
I like the fact that the credits the credits are also blue as well, which is kind of nice.
Fair.
Yeah.
I have no idea what a honey wagon is.
Were the opening credits blue or red? I think they were blue as well.
They were blue, yeah.
If they were red, it'd be a nice transition.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were blue.
Does everybody want to go back and check?
Oh, I'll have a quick check. Yeah, the blue. Yeah.
Keen.
Fantastic. So whilst we're waiting for this to pop up, give us a quick thoughts on the film. We will begin with The Bard.
My thoughts on the film in general.
Just as now that you've
good.
watched it.
Pretty good. It's almost really good, but doesn't quite make it. I think it's compromised mainly by the time when it was made. I think because it's definitely post 70s, post 80s, and we're in the 90s when filmmaking is starting to become a lot more conscious about what they can and can't do, and a lot of horror franchises have started to push into being PG and less transgressive and safer. And I think it's a very safe take on Lovecraft's style of horror, and that's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Andy?
I enjoy it quite a lot.
So, sorry, music recorded at Knob World. Continue.
How can I continue from Knob World? I really like it. I can see what the Bard's saying. I kind of understand in the sense why I think they made it a little bit easier and a little less Lovecraftian. It also makes it easier on the audience to comprehend. I find it out of the Lovecraft movies I have seen.
Here's the gag.
It's one of the better ones. Oh,
there it is. Underneath animal action, human interaction was monitored by the Interplanetary Psychiatric Association. The body count was high.
The casualties are heavy. That's fantastic.
A random thing to put in right at the end there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in, but that was the gag.
No,
Let's
that's
wait
fine.
for.
Yeah, I like it. Like I say, one of the better Lovecraftian movies I've seen. Not completely Lovecraftian, more Stephen King, but still one of the better ones, I think.
It's still, the influences are felt quite strongly throughout the film, I think.
Very much.
Mm.
It's definitely one of the better films. I mean, if we're comparing it to other films that draw from Lovecraft, We're not looking at an all-star, like, stellar lineup, are we? This is on the upper cusp.
Yes. Especially as Andy knows what's coming next time.
Oh God.
What is coming next time?
Do you dare speak its name, Andy?
No. Because if you give something a name, it gives it power.
Such lovely. Don't forget, you've still got House of Cthulhu to go.
That's true. I haven't seen that, so I don't know if it's evil yet.
Oh,
I've only been told if it's evil.
you see, the thing with House of Cthulhu is, I'm just going to spring it on you.
I know.
I'm not going to let you watch it beforehand.
I could look at trailers. I could find the download, but I'm not gonna.
No, you've got to wait until the time is right. And
Yes.
wait until the stars are right before you get House of Cthulhu. So yeah, that was In the Mouth of Madness. And I don't know about you, Q, but I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
You haven't said your thoughts.
Oh, I haven't, have I? Thank you very much for reminding me. It was a late night last night. I'm tired. Thanks to Minecraft. Mouth of Madness stands up for me as being one of these films that, whilst in exercise, it doesn't work as well as it does in my head. And it's something I always forget about when watching it. The film in my mind is probably better than the film that actually exists. I was not to say this is a bad film in any way, shape, or form. It isn't. But I think you're absolutely right there when you say that the premise of the film is stronger than the film itself. It is less than the sum of its parts.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say it's a bad film in any way, shape, or form. I adore this movie completely and utterly. And I think one of the reasons for that is the performance Sam Neill gives throughout it. He really does give this wonderful, subtle character arc to the character that isn't drawn on in any way. There's never any point where the script suddenly turns around and goes, "You're going mad, you are, Sam." And he goes, "Yes, no." It's in his inflections and his actions that gives you the idea of just how much this is taking a toll on him.
I agree.
As for the rest of the film itself, I have a real love of the way that a lot of these elements are mixed together. As I say, the lack of budget that the film needed a higher budget to successfully do a lot of these parts. For example, the woman coming out on the spider walk, the crab walk, with a little bit more budget, that could have been a fantastic effect, and it would have maybe not a little bit more budget, maybe with just a little bit more editing.
Certainly, the camera angles and a bit more editing could have made it a lot better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
The crab walk in Exorcist works very well because it's bang there, and you've got just enough time to go, "Wow, what was that?" And it's gone. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
It dwells too long. And I think that's the problem. It doesn't know whether to dwell on things for shorter times or longer times. It always seems to find this middling ground without ever really putting itself into one camp or the other. The Wall is one thing we were talking about before. But that's not to say this is a bad film in any way. I recommend it to anyone. And I think as a gateway drug, as a starting point to getting into the sort of mythos of Lovecraft and the sort of this type of horror that we're looking at, the less gore, more psychological aspects, I think it's a good starting point.
It's not bad. If I had seen this film when I was a young lad, at the same time I was seeing RoboCop and Evil Dead, it'd probably hold a much higher point.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be much higher in my regard because I could get nostalgic about it, and I just can't really.
Yeah.
I've got to take it at face value.
I think what also helps for me in this fact anyway is that I didn't know this film existed. It was one of these, I just saw it purely on the off chance by accident. In fact, it took me something like 4 years to find out what the film was called.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's like me and Felix the Cat.
I've got the same kind of story with Lost Boys, to be honest with you.
That's a good film.
Mm-hmm. It took me something like 3 years to finally find out what that film was actually called. Just because I saw it late night ITV one night. It was halfway through.
Yeah.
I think it was actually you that made me go and watch In the Mouth of Madness, wasn't it, Grove?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's in this great big list of films that I'm firing at you.
No, it happened a while ago at this point, though. I think you just threw it in and said, "Oh, you should probably watch it." And I did, and was like, this is... I think I came off seeing a really terrible, awful horror film, so I'd seen this and been like, oh my god, they did good horror films at one point.
Well, horror is this really strange... Sorry. Oh, ow.
There, lad.
Stop being diseased.
I can't help it. I've actually got whiskey in front of me. I'm not drinking it. It's just in front of me from... There's your mic.
Minecraft drinking.
No, from Skype and Minecraft drinking. Anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought.
You were talking about horror.
Yes, horror has this weird cylindrical nature to it, where up until maybe the early 2000s, it went through the gore horror, psychological horror, comedy horror, and then back to gore horror again.
Mm.
Now, the odd thing is that gore horror seems to be where it's sticking for longer than normal at the moment.
Yeah.
Gore horror doesn't seem to want to be shifted to move to the next phase again.
I don't know. It's too early to say. Because I'd suggest that gore horror lasted for a long time. Because we had the last decade for it was the 70s.
Yeah.
Notoriously transgressive 70s. And quite a lot of the 80s, I think. We had a good chunk of gore horror. Have we had long enough to declare that gore horror is overstaying its welcome at this point?
You make a good point.
I think it's overstayed its welcome. I want gore horror to go away because it's not the kind of horror I'm interested in.
Maybe, but there's room for more with one type of horror playing at one time, and there always is.
Of course there is. That's the point I was going to make here, that there are the other films out there if you look for them. It's just because they're not the big budget. I mean, I suppose even saying that, the current sort of big budget horror films, so to speak, the big name ones are the Paranormal Activity ones. They're not gore in the slightest. They are attempting the psychological route. But the problem with
suspense
But the problem with them is that they are a money cow. They are being cranked out at a rate of knots, much like the Saw franchise was, and other franchises before it, which are the Friday the 13th, the Halloween, they weren't cranked out yearly, but they were milked dry. I
got to give the Saw series a lot of credit for the skill of its writers sometimes in making it continue in a way that is both interesting and plausible after the people who were making it said, no, that's the end.
Mm-hmm.
They've done that twice. And the films vary in quality, but the fact that they did it at all, it's very impressive, Pete.
Well, if memory serves me right, the second Saw film wasn't actually meant to be a Saw film, was it? It was just... It got the Saw franchise rammed into it. Just, get in there. Yeah.
I think it was a case of either we do that or the film doesn't get made.
Yeah.
You find that happens a fair bit.
So. Well, I think we're going to draw this to a close now. So I say thank you to the Bard.
Let me plug my YouTube channel.
It's exactly what I was about to do. Just launching myself.
You can find me on YouTube under the name of Bardic Broadcasts, YouTube's best unboxings. Best and least frequent, I'm afraid. But
get more boxings done, man. Get more boxings done.
When are you going to do another video? We are chopping for this for more.
I've told you my philosophy on videos that I do it when it matters. I said this to Grufflog the other week. I said, I see people, Let's Players especially, they play things that matter to them early on. And they're very good because you can see what they're doing means something to them and they're interested and they can tell you a lot about them. And then they run out of these things and they're just playing stuff that is there because they want to do more content and people want them to do more content. And the quality drops a lot. So I was just going to do unboxings when it was something that I could actually say something about them when it matters. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I can afford interesting collector's editions, because those suckers are cheap.
Oh God, no. No, I checked the prices on those things that you've got, and wow. Whew.
But I had an idea. Let me run this past you and all of our fabulous listeners out there. I was thinking of doing reboxings. I don't know if anyone's had this idea already, where I've got stuff that I've had for a long time. I thought I'd take it all out of its box, display it, talk about it, put it back in the box, and then put it in my cupboard. Reboxings. I like it. I've got my Witcher 2 collector's edition there. I've got Warhammer Online collector's edition. Oh, that game. I could talk about it for months, probably. Holy hell. I better not get started. And I've got a few other things, board games, old Hero Quest, stuff like that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
that was an involuntary
I thought
noise there. Whoops.
that might make some interesting vids. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get me some
Soon as
on the YouTube and I'm a happy man.
All I need is a new camera. My camera's not operational at the moment, I'm afraid, so I need a new one. But as soon as I get back on my feet camera-wise, well, it'll be time.
I look forward to that day.
That's my plug. Bardic Broadcasts.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Oh, God. No?
Oh.
If it ever comes out, issue 6 of After the World magazine here in Australia, I have sold a story to them that should be coming out.
Oh, fantastic.
At some point. It's called The Dark Segment by John Roberts, my real name. Ooh, look out. With mystery. Losing his mystique.
You've got your name. Everyone can eat you now.
Nope.
Cannibals are coming for you.
Well, you can edit it out if you like.
No. I want to see the YouTube video where you're fighting off cannibals using nothing but a rapier.
No. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's out there anyway. I think in my Death Watch Collector's Edition, I'm Brother Roberts of the Imperial Fist. So if you watch that video, you got my last name anyway. But yeah, so if that ever comes out, look it up. And I've got a few others in negotiation phase, and I'll probably let you know if I have some success there. So
yeah, let us know, and we will do our best to pimp you. Which sounds like a really strange sentence. By that, I mean, we will do our best to get your name out there and get people buying the magazine.
Well, thanks, lad.
Not getting you on the street corners to make me some Benjamins.
Well, we could do that as well. Never say never, Grove.
You wouldn't want Benjamins anyway. You'd have to get the currency converted.
That's true enough.
Terrible.
But I really don't want to say get you on the street corner to make me some queens.
That's not what a pimp does.
Ooh. Andy, moving on quickly. Before this goes down a really dark path.
Yeah, we haven't been there yet today, have we?
No, I don't want this to end with a big purple hat with a feather in it. So, Andy, give yourself a pimpin'. Jesus.
Yeah, give myself a pimpin'. Put those little nipple tassels on and spin them around. You can find me on Twitter at CCTFW, all in capitals. You can find me on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW, and you can find me on the Moonbase 2 podcast, where I talk about Transformers with my sexual little partner known as Mikey. He is not my sexual little partner. He's the sexual partner of the world itself.
Yes. He is the railway to me running a train.
Exactly. I don't know what that means, but I'll go for it. I would imagine I'd want the tunnel and you're the train.
It's more the idea of thousands are going to have him. I'm just going to sell the tickets.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I know what you're talking about now.
Mike.
That's a lot more plugs than I got to do. I reckon I can get a second plug. Bardic Broadcasts, YouTube. Us Dad fans, appearing now, the Bard, live and in color, immune to bullets.
Leap over a single bound with a building. What? Hang on. This doesn't seem like a good superpower at all. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Grufflock. You can find me on YouTube, actually, as at Grufflock, and you can find the Old Oil House on YouTube if you look. There isn't anything up there at the moment. There's
meant to be a video up there from yesterday.
Yes, I haven't got around to editing yet.
You bastard.
Minecraft happened. You can find the shows at www.nerdsphere.blogspot.com or on the Old Oil House website at www.oldoilhouse.co.uk. You can probably find me on Facebook, but tentacles will happen to your face. Right. With that, I'm going to say good night to everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Grufflock.
No matter what you may be.